11, and all that stuff moved in. It was gray slime all night long, getting denser, thin, and then getting denser and denser as usual. And we're back to the same weird stuff. Yeah. Yay! I missed it so much. See, there's two layers, a lower layer and then a higher layer. See what now? You see the sun trying to burn through the higher layer. Ugh. Oh yeah, that stuff. The science fiction in the sky, man. It's back. It's Dina Cardinale. He's so great. I hear Gina. There's Gina Cardinale. Living up on 5 o'clock, looking toward DC. Strangely flattened clouds. See weird striations, all striated. You can see the sun trying to get through it. It's dense, but thin, perverted. See how it looks sort of like cirrus clouds, much lower down? Those are not natural anymore. They've been affected by the material, and profoundly so. 11th, this is great. This is just perfect. And now what do we have? This shit. What do we have there? Persistent contrails. See them? What does that mean? It means that stuff's at 30,000 feet. That's what it means. As boring as it may be, this is incredibly significant. You're looking at what might just kill you and everybody else. Now, there's a jet at cruise altitude. So he's above that stuff, above the slightly lower clouds, and yet he has no persistent contrail at all. And where is he? He's right next to persistent contrails at the same exact altitude. Well, it doesn't matter. See, that stuff, they're at cruise altitude, 30,000 feet roughly. Okay? And there's another one. Oh no, he was making one. Huh. I just couldn't see it right away, I guess. It must have been him, or it shut off. Nonetheless, that's 30,000 feet. Okay. See, that's what I told you. That's a little bit lower down. That's all jet cirrus. It's all jet cirrus. Basically, it's like virtually all jet cirrus. That's what the sun's trying to come through behind that slightly lower material. And it isn't much lower. That's way up there too. See the fall cirrus look to it? Messed up? It's because their stuff falls. Remember? Dr. Teller told us so. See the weird, it's coming at you like fingers, soft, feathery fingers. It's a cirrus-like effect. Right above it is the true stuff. Dense, but thin. There's another one right there. Yeah, he's not doing anything. The other guy was shut off. This guy's doing nothing. Yeah, he's at the altitude, so he's cut off, and yet next to him they go further. But again, the significant thing is that this shit's at 30,000 feet, folks. That's impossible under any previous historical picture for the type of clouds that are up there. I'm not talking about the slightly lower ones, which are weird. I'm talking about the stuff up there that's the big gray haze. That can't possibly be normal. It's not normal. Clearly persistent contrails or chemtrails, as you wish. See the socks on a line? It's definitely blooming up there. And from what I can see, it's like just a few inches above this. So that slightly darker stuff, the mottled stuff, is probably only a couple 100 feet lower at the most than that stuff. The gray slime, this stuff's like all virtually the same altitude. See, that persistent contrail is like right in it, or just slightly above it. And they're at cruise altitude, so that's basically all that stuff is jet cirrus. Isn't that wonderful? At 5:44, we're having another little visit, but it's fly-by. Aha! Now, see, that shows you that it's a patrol. So he came from Bethesda from that way, and then came over, saw his flag, hooray Marines, and then with a little inspiration and fun goes off, hopefully, to not pound me. We'll see. 80,000 feet, see, it reinforces that what I term mega slime generation, those giant blooms that are as large as an entire county of a major state when they get going, and then joining into others, is at jet cruise altitude. It always flattens and turns into, jet cirrus or gray slime, just like this. And remember, this cloud mass was fed directly over Texas, which filmed on and telecast, that had this peculiar and very, very dense and extremely dramatic so-called mega slime generation stuff into an existing cloud mass that was probably mostly jet cirrus anyway. Right? 30,000 feet. That's impossible for this to be normal clouds. See? Look at that stuff up there. That's the stuff. Another form of jet cirrus. Chem clouds. The product of this whole chemical saturation of the troposphere. For weather control and financial gain, weather derivatives, the whole bit. And other more unpleasant ideas that might be involved, like in case we don't want large swathes of people here anymore. And now, this is good. It shows you this, again, it's more than one, it's one cloud layer. See that stuff up there? That ripply stuff right up there, that's, that's the jet cirrus altitude dense, but then we've already studied it. And this stuff, which, we're at indeterminate altitude, but actually it's blending right in, it's all one. So this layer is actually a couple of 100 feet thick. But it's all up there at jet cruise altitude. See that stuff, it's all merging, it's all one. This is just slightly lower, and it's just a graduality, like a curvature to reaching this. It's all virtually the same altitude. That is really weird, man. Now, the viewer to know, if I put this on, actually, for years I've been a professional level cloud photographer. That's my specialty, clouds. And I'm telling you that this stuff is really, really weird. 30,000 feet, folks, whatever that is, whatever exactly comprises it, that is just weird, man. Well, we get that all the time now, see, and that's just like 100 feet lower than that. It's all one mass, cirrus slimulus. See? Yeah, look what we have. A few more friends go in the right direction. This, fortunately. Hmm. 7:18, it's getting exciting now. A little bit lower stuff is coming. This is what's called asperitas, the other new named cloud form that didn't exist until recently. Wackadelic. Oh, this is great. So where's this asperitas forming? Under the weird, under the jet cirrus. How far under? I'm not sure. I don't see any jets right now. I mean, you'd think it's low. It might be really way up there. It's hard to tell. Nonetheless, asperitas. Where is it? Under all that freaked out stuff. You see the striated elements here, just like we saw at somewhat higher altitude. The same weird stuff, and what's forming into this bubblational asperitas. This is probably the first time we've had a really clear example of it. It's not as dramatic as some of the other shots I've seen, but this is the stuff. And as a experienced cloud photographer, it is very, very, very strange. Also, at first glance you go, oh, these should be raining. These are like rain clouds. They're not. It's not raining. It's not even mizzling. So maybe asperitas is uniformly a, chem powder perverted rain cloud. Okay, it's about 8 o'clock. I can't show you, but that sky that we saw earlier has completely evened out into that bizarre felt-like billiard table look with very, very little variation visible, only slight thinning in certain parts, and it's barely detectable. And it's further worthy of note to remember that, we had 3 nice days and 3 nights, but before that was 145 straight hours of this, what you just saw. in the afternoon and evening, and now here it is densing up again. So it gets denser at night, which is counter the idea of evaporation from sunlight causing growth of clouds. It's because the absence of radiant energy causes the hygroscopic powder to be more effective, because the water molecules are not excited and forced off of the submicroscopic nuclei. Stepped outside, and we've been having, it's a mizzle. It's mizzling right now. More than a mist, less than a drizzle. It's amazing. Every single time there's rain or an attempt at rain or snow for a year and a half, every single time, mizzle. So I put some samples out. New CD cases, we'll get samples, and I'm sure it'll be the way it always is. Completely covered with dense, featureless crud. And earlier, so remember the striated stuff? There it is right there. And all that stuff's at 30,000 feet, folks. 30,000 feet. There's no way that can be normal clouds. As to whether that's the same altitude or a little lower, I don't know. I don't care. We demonstrated that that crap's at 30,000 feet. And we saw it with the persistent contrails in it earlier today, when you couldn't tell what the altitude is. It looked like it's pretty low. They would have been in real meteorological conditions before this bizarre and horrid changes. Now you get clouds that never could have formed and still can't form at 30,000 feet, but there they are. Dense as can be. Look over here and look at Europe. What's happening to Europe? Yeah, you got it. And I'll tell you what that looks like. It looks like the planet Venus. It is completely cloud covered. What is that? That's completely cloud covered. Completely. Where all that crap over, that's all gray slime at 30,000 feet. What do you think most of it is? And it's affecting all the cloud formations at all layers. So there's even more crabs coming up. Weird crap from the Hawaii region. Weird stuff turning into slime. It's Hawaii right there. Look at that. Watch that stuff. It just turns right into, it's all jet cirrus, see? Fall cirrus. That's what that stuff is. It's a fall cirrus. All likelihood that's at 30,000 feet too. It's definitely above the other stuff. Bizarre, unnatural clouds continuously forming and coming in to cloak us with goo. Yeah, that's those weirdo clouds that were over us before sunset. And then, another form of it. And what are we getting with all this clouds, this huge amounts of clouds? Mizzle. That's what we're getting right now. Alright, it's the 12th. We had mizzle, we had drizzle, mostly cloudy, and gooey. Mostly gooey clouds. Overcast, gooey, and cloudy. With a little sun trying to burn through. Yeah! I'm loving that. Alright, it's 3:37 at March 12th. There's Courage. And what do we have? Well, we had an hour and a half of clear. And where are we back to? Yeah. Weird, flattened clouds. No rain, sun trying to break through. The thing here is most important is, once again, it's one giant managed sheet. It's like almost frozen in lucite. And what the important thing is, there's no closing. See, those gaps don't close. Right? No, even if it's small, it's not going to close. It's just going to stay like that. That's what I'm talking about. Electromagnetic management is the only way that can happen over and over again. As a student of clouds, I'm always fascinated with the forms of the closing, the slight chaos patterns up there. Well, that was over a year and a half ago, because that doesn't happen anymore. Yeah, maybe one. And it's very notable. So, sweet Anya. We'll look at it on telecast. The 13th, about 12:30. Yeah, we had plenty of this. Cumulus rain clouds with the gooey goo, jet cirrus, or lower creepy crud. And you notice, actually, the sun's kind of coming through some of it. We're having mizzle. It's like that wonderful old song, remember? Have you ever seen the mizzle coming down on a crazy day? It's famous. It's perfectly natural and harmless. We're gonna take some samples. And 30 seconds later, it's over. Again, this bizarre pattern. Just a few seconds of mizzle. Not drizzle, it's mizzle. More than a mist, less than a considerably. Alright, here a little later we see what? It's perfect, perfect. All around we see cumulus clouds that are normal, cumulus, and above it all, jet cirrus, gray slime. See it? Well, almost out of tape, only a few seconds left. But completely covered with jet cirrus at 30,000 feet, or chem clouds, whatever you want to call them. But no jets at this point. It shows you the stuff they're making is that stuff, long way, far away. So it's everywhere. It's later, huge cumulus cloud, jet cirrus, chem slime everywhere. And I saw a jet cruise.